What's up, everyone? This is the 2A Enthusiast channel, and today I want to give you a little bit of a rundown on my everyday carry and some of the things I like to have on me every day. So, I guess to start out, my gun that I didn't carry every day when I get home goes into a stop box, um, and it just sits on my nightstand. So nothing too fancy. I do have like one of those like digital ones or whatever, but I don't love it. It's not my favorite. So generally, this is the one that I use, at least that sits on my nightstand when I get home. Super simple, very hard to get into. I've actually tried prying into this one with like a flathead, just trying to pry it, and it's not very easy. Um, and so yeah, this is what I've used for a long time actually. Inside the stop box, the gun that I've started carrying recently is the Shadow Systems MR920. It's unloaded. So this is the MR920 Elite from Shadow Systems. I've had this for about 5 years or so now, so it's gotten quite a few rounds through it. It did start out, and it has been, I guess, mostly a range gun. So I've mainly been running a comp on the end of it from Harrington Arms for like the last 3 years. And then trigger, I did swap out from the factory to the Timney Elite. I just didn't love the factory trigger. I'm not a huge fan of factory triggers to begin with, unless it's like a Walther or Organic, something of that quality. And then optic, I have the Holosun 508T, which I highly recommend that optic if you're looking for something not to break the bank, but something that's gonna work well. I would highly recommend that. And then holster, what I'm carrying the gun in is a Teton Customs. Um, this is just one of their inside the waistband, more set up for appendix carry, I guess. Um, so my relationship with Teton Customs, I am one of their ambassadors. So they did send this out to me for free. But that, of course, doesn't skew how I'm going to review it. Yesterday was my first day wearing this gun all day in this holster, and overall, super awesome. I didn't notice it. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say I didn't notice it, but um, it wasn't super noticeable. I'm carrying a full size gun. Being me, I'm 5'4" and about 130-ish pounds, so I'm a pretty small guy, super tiny. So carrying a full size gun like a Glock 19 um, can be very noticeable. But with this holster, it actually did pretty well yesterday. So yeah, it's an awesome holster. They did an awesome job. It's got these really nice like metal. I think they call this like a monoblock clip. So it's a metal clip that basically it shrinks. It slides over your belt, and it has these little clips on the backside of the clip that actually grabs onto your belt. So it basically makes it even more secure, so it doesn't wobble around and move. But they did a really awesome job on it. So they matched up the washers to the barrel on the gun itself. So you've got the copper colored barrel and then the copper colored washers, which I think it just looks really good on that gun. So yeah, thank you to Teton Customs for this awesome holster. I do have a code that will save you a little bit, and then I'd highly recommend you check them out. I did do a video recently on their chest holster that I really love. It's something that I've been using for quite a while. Every time I go out hiking or hunting, anything out in the mountains of Idaho, generally that's what I'm using for my Smith and Wesson. Um, and they just do a really good job. They do the concealed carry holsters. They do some nice chest holsters as well as they came out with a new bino harness holster, and then they also do like just your regular, I guess you could say, competition style holster, or I guess range style holster. Um, so they can do it on QLS systems pretty easily. You could probably do it on like a G code system if you want to, like the RTI will. You can do pretty much anything you want. So yeah, the guys over at Teton Customs, they do an awesome job. They did also make me this awesome magazine carrier, this inside the waistband. The cool thing though, and they don't have it on the actual firearm holster itself, but on the magazine holster they do have holes on both sides. So that way, if I decide I don't want to run it inside the waistband and can still carry it at all, I can swap this clip over to the other side, or I could buy different clips and be able to run it kind of more outside the waistband. But they did the same thing. They matched up the washers with the barrel on the gun itself to that copper color. I think it just looks really good. And then they did like a carbon fiber kind of a kydex, and it just looks awesome with that copper color. So thank you guys to Teton Customs. Check them out. And then going along with the rest, ammo that I use with the gun is going to be the Underwood ammunitions. This is the 68 grain Extreme Defender. The item number is 864. And they do a great job. I've seen a lot of different like videos on their, I guess, their design of a hollow point. It's more of an external hollow point. So you don't actually have, your standard bullet with like a hole on it on the inside. Instead, this looks more like a Phillips head screwdriver. And from what I've seen, it does a way better job of penetration and defeating, especially like defeating thick clothing. So like here in Idaho, it stays pretty cold. Like right now, it's actually still pretty cold. It's like just barely getting like mid 40s in Idaho. And so like in the wintertime, it can get pretty cold here. People are wearing pretty thick clothing. As well as like, even if I was carrying this like while I'm driving and I'm in the mountains, I would much rather use this ammunition against an animal than a standard hollow point. A standard hollow point, of course, is going to get caught up in like their fur, whereas this hollow point is going to penetrate a little bit better. So that's what I've been carrying. I switched between multiple different hollow points. I've kind of tried pretty much everything out there, and those just seem to do the best. I used to use a lot of like Hornady, critical defense, critical duty, and those just didn't seem to sit well inside the magazines. Basically, what would happen was I would come home. My routine would be I'd come home, I'd eject the round that I was carrying inside the chamber, and then load it in the magazine. Or I guess the next morning I would charge the next round that's in the magazine, and then that round that was carried the day before I would load back in the magazine. The problem I was seeing though is I would get set back on the round. The round would get pushed back into the casing itself, and those were actually the only rounds I've ever actually seen do that. Was the Hornady critical defense and critical duty. That's probably not the greatest practice to just keep unloading your gun, but for how I was doing it, I just felt like it was a little bit safer for me when I got home just to unload the gun. I've got a lot of other guns that I generally will use if there's like a home defense situation. Not necessarily this gun. This probably will not be my go-to gun. I have some other stuff. So that's just generally how I did it. I was going to unload the gun when I got home. But yeah, so Underwood ammunition. I am planning on picking up some G9 ammunition. Their bullets are designed very, very similarly. And so I plan to pick up some of those and try them out and see how they work. Maybe we'll do some testing on that and maybe do a little bit of like penetration test or something. Underwood against G9 or something. I don't know. Wallet, more of a simple type of guy. I used to have that one that had like the money clip on the outside, hold your money. The problem I had with that was it would the money clip itself was rubbing against my pant pocket, and it was starting to put holes in my pants. So I switched to something a little bit, I guess, different design. So this is a Buffway, Buffway wallet that I got from Amazon, I think. Super simple. It's just got pockets on both sides of the wallet for cards, and then cash in the center. So super simple. Knife. I do carry a Benchmade. I don't remember which knife this is. Maybe if you know, you can let me know in the comments. If I can remember, I will put it somewhere in the video. Um, I am the type of person that if I buy a knife, it doesn't matter how much the knife is, I'm going to use it for every single activity that I would generally use a knife for. So it doesn't matter if it's a $500 knife or a $50 knife, I'm probably going to do the exact same stuff with it. Um, and this knife has done really well. So, I guess features about the knife, it's very simple. Just got a little push button and flips out. It does have a lock on it, so I guess if you wanted to lock it, I don't know really why you would have to lock a knife, but I guess if you leave it around, you have kids or something, I don't know. But yeah, it does really well. Stays really sharp. I use it to cut boxes and plastic and all sorts of different stuff. And it works really well. So highly recommend Benchmade if you haven't bought one or if you're thinking about buying a Benchmade, get into Benchmade because they work really well. Flashlight. I usually am more I guess carrying a flashlight or carrying a light on my firearm when I'm carrying a firearm every day. This setup, how I have it right now, I'm not doing that. I kind of want to be, like, I guess, a little bit more minimal with my size. I want to get away from having, uh, a whole bunch of stuff on the center of my body. With how small I am, an extra light just adds more onto it. So I wanted to be a little bit more minimal this time. Try out carrying this a little bit more. I used to carry a Shadow System CR920, which of course is more of a Glock 43, 43X size. So I could get away with carrying a light and an optic on the gun and be just fine. Whereas this, with being a Glock 19 size, it's a little larger, takes up a little more space on my body. So I carry the Streamlight. This is the Micro Stream USB, and I've actually had this for probably going on. I've had this exact same one going on like 3 or 4 years, and this light has been awesome. So it is rechargeable USB-C, and then has your standard. You push the button and gives you the light, or you can just click it in. It does really well. I haven't had to charge it for a very long time, I guess, but I also don't use it a ton. But it is handy. My thought is, if I have to find something at night and all I have is the light on my gun, I for some reason don't have my phone, and I only have the light on my gun, I probably shouldn't draw my gun just to use the light. It's probably not a great situation to be in, especially depending on where you're at. So I feel like something like this, just a micro light, is a much better option. If you had to draw your gun and you needed a light, it wouldn't be very hard to use both of them. Um, you know, to point and shoot, it wouldn't be very hard. So I would highly recommend checking these Streamlights out. These are the minis. They do make up one that is a little bit longer. Probably closer to like the size of like a number 2 pencil. Is maybe a little bit smaller than that actually. And then they make the mini. And the mini, just to compare, this is a Glock 17 magazine. This is the light. So it's a little smaller, not by much, but really doesn't take less space. It's super light. So yeah, that's my setup right now. It probably will change eventually. There's a couple other guns that I've been looking at back and forth for the last few months. I have been wanting to switch up and do something a little bit smaller. Like I pointed out, I'm a small guy. I can't carry a lot on my person. And so, especially in the summertime, a smaller gun for me is something that I'm looking to get back into. That's what I've primarily always carried. Glock 19 has been the biggest gun that I've carried, and it's not too hard for me to carry it in the wintertime, and not too hard for me to carry even around the office where I work. But a smaller gun, of course, is easier. So this will probably change. If you have any questions, you want to see more maybe on the Shadow Systems or some of the other stuff that I've presented to you here, please give me a comment in the comment section or shoot me a message over at my Instagram page. My Instagram page is the_2A_enthusiast. And then check out Teton Customs They make some awesome holsters. I run their holsters for everything that I do outside the waistband. Um, so I think I've got 3 different holsters that I run outside the waistband on QLS, and they work really well. I've ran them pretty darn hard, and they seem to work great. So they're made here in Idaho. They're made in America, 100%. Great company, great group of people. So um, thank you. Please leave a like, comment. Let me know what you think of the video. Thanks.